Welcome back to Chow Time Pod. It's your host, Red. Got videos today from men only. Woman ruins her 24 years of marriage, regrets it instantly because she was left with nothing. Please exit them below. I really appreciate that. Let's get that Chow.
Divorce is really hard. I thought I could talk about this.
Fellas, welcome back to the channel. Today, we're sharing a heartbreaking story. She ruined her marriage of 24 years, regretted it instantly, and was left with nothing. We'll explore what led to the downfall of this long-term relationship, the immediate regrets she faced, and the harsh consequences that followed. Before we get started, make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you never miss our latest videos. Let's jump right in and break it all down.
I am predicting that divorce rates 7 to 10 years from now are going to skyrocket, and it's not because of the Great Divorce. Today's economy is creating a lot of relationships born purely out of financial necessity.
You say this, but back in the 50s and 60s when you said women didn't work, wasn't it the same kind of setup where people purely sort of got together because of financial reasons? Like women had to get with men because of financial reasons? Isn't it very similar now?
There's men and women in their early 20s that are shacking up together now because they can't afford rent on one income, and they've reached a point in their lives that they don't want a roommate.
It's funny that they say this, but there's still plenty of women on the internet, on TikTok, saying they'd rather be alone and single than to settle to live with a man going 50-50. So what are you talking about?
So they're finding a boyfriend or a girlfriend to provide that same kind of financial contribution. Essentially, oh, I like you a lot. I can tolerate being around you 100% of the time, so let's do this. Since they have both already taken that step of living together, buying furniture and all the domestic stuff, it will be easier to take that next natural step. They'll get engaged. And then they get swept up in all of the excitement of that.
See, this is some bullshit. This is not how it works. Men are waking up to this, and we're not just all of a sudden, oh, because we're together for a long period of time, we're just going to start marrying people. What the fuck? We know what the marriage laws are.
They'll get married and they get swept up in all the excitement of that. And then a year later, they start having children. And when those kids arrive, that's when the shit will hit the fan, because it does. Even in the best, healthiest, most secure relationships where people did spend a lot of time getting to know each other and evaluating fit, genuinely loving each other, those couples slam into the brick wall of parenthood, where priorities change and relationship dynamics shift.
This is true. I actually agree with this, but it's mostly just for the mother and the woman, because her dynamic changed, really, because the father and the husband still provides. He still does pretty much basically everything the same, except for now he does a little bit extra. But where the woman, they have a whole new job that they might not be aware of, might not be ready for, and this postpartum depression bullshit is starting to happen to a high degree. Why? Because these women are regretful that they don't get to live their life anymore. They don't get to go to the club. They don't get to go post all these scantily clad women or pictures of themselves. Why? Because there's different standards for mothers. But again, now even nowadays, they're trying to readjust those standards for mothers to where even mothers can still go out in clubs and do all these things with their daughters.
Permanently. You can't go back to that fun couple you were, because now there is a human that needs you. And suddenly you have a lot of people, or you will have a lot of people that never fully understood the commitment of being with that person they chose for a lifetime. It will be a very good time to be a divorce attorney.
Here's the thing. After hearing what this woman had to say, it's hard not to think that becoming a divorce lawyer might be one of the most secure career choices out there. With the way things are going, it seems like the divorce industry is booming, and it's not hard to see why.
It's true and not true, because marriage is not booming. If marriage is not booming, divorce ain't gonna boom because there ain't gonna be enough marriages to even facilitate divorce.
Why? Marriage, in its current state, has become more of a risky gamble than a lifelong commitment, especially for men. A lot of young men are looking at the landscape of modern marriage and deciding that it's just not worth the risk. They see the stories of men who lose everything in a divorce: homes, savings, even access to their children. And they're saying, no thanks. Why sign up for a situation where you could be left with nothing simply because the relationship didn't work out? The truth is, marriage today isn't what it used to be. The idea of a lifelong partnership has been overshadowed by the reality that, for many, marriage ends in financial and emotional ruin. And
At least for men. I guess for both, because the woman might be well off in the beginning of the divorce, but usually later on in the divorce, she ends up worse off. So both people almost always end up pretty bad in the divorce. Just the man ends up better at the end.
with the way the laws are structured, it often feels like men are set up to lose from the start. They're seeing the writing on the wall and choosing to opt out before they even get started. It's not that young men don't want commitment or a family. They do. But the current system has made it clear that marriage, as it stands, is not a safe bet. The risks far outweigh the rewards, and that's why many are deciding to steer clear altogether. They're focusing on their careers, their personal growth, and their happiness, rather than tying themselves to a contract that could leave them devastated. So yeah, if you're considering a career as a divorce lawyer, you're probably in the right place at the right time. But for those
But yeah, if you're, as you guys there, thinking about this career, remember, you're going to have to defend some horrible women. And even some horrible men, too.
young men out there thinking about marriage, they're taking a long, hard look at the reality of it today, and many are deciding that it's just not worth the squeeze.
Divorce is really hard. I thought I could talk about this. I didn't realize how raw it was. And I did not expect fucking having a New York City office that I'm commuting in.
Like, where are the tears? All I hear is this, like, raspy crying voice that I could easily make myself too.
Into to stir up all of these feelings. I thought it was so past this. I thought it was so past this. I moved out 2 years ago. I'm not. I had a whole wall in our house of like family portraits. And not in like a corny, horrible way, like in a cool way. Like I had great pictures.
Of course it's cool because you made
I
it.
only kept the ones of my son, right? And this is one of them. And it's, wait, let me give you a better version.
Really? That's a picture of your son? Your son is barely in the fucking shot. This looks like a picture you posed for purposely. Get the fuck out of here with this is one of your favorite of your...
My son, when he was 8, probably, and we were decorating for Christmas. And I remember how lonely I would feel every Christmas. But then I look at this picture. I'm like, oh, that was our mirror. And I remember when we bought it. I remember when we bought those sofas. Or when we installed those light fixtures. I remember the painting that was right above them.
Guys!
The stuff in the background.
Devastation.
You put together a life with someone, right?
It's a complete bullshit,
And
right?
you think you're going to be with them forever. And that's your plan. And you go in.
And then you're the one that ended up leaving. So why didn't you just follow through with your plan?
To it. Fully, earnestly thinking you're going to be with them forever. And then you're not. I took that of my son on a vacation. I think I was still trying, but unhappy, but trying. It's sad. No one gets married thinking they're going to get divorced. you know, right? What is it? Half of all marriages, or like how many marriages actually end in divorce? Like so many, right? So it's almost like rare that you want to be with someone forever. So if
It's not rare. I think a lot of people want to be with someone forever. Just people don't put in the work to do so.
you have that, like, oh, it's so fucking awesome. If you don't have it and you're fighting for it, and that you just can't get there, and then it ends, and then it just feels so awful.
And who started all this?
Who ended it? This was my choice. I have
Exactly.
this, you know, in my apartment. This is all my stuff. This is my choice. You don't expect it to hurt 2 years later.
Chasing happiness is always a failed plan. It's a classic story we've seen unfold time and time again. Here's this woman who had it all: a 24-year marriage, beautiful homes, nice cars, a life that many would envy.
Right?
But for some reason, it just wasn't enough. She started thinking, maybe I could do better on my own. Maybe there's something more out there.
Excuse me.
So she decided to throw it all away and get a divorce. But here's the kicker. She was chasing that
Sorry, allergic to all this bullshit.
elusive 20%, thinking it would make her happier, more fulfilled. She forgot that she already had the 80%, a solid, stable life. And now what's left? She's out there on her own, realizing that the grass isn't always greener on the other side. That rude awakening hits hard when she sees that what she thought she wanted was just an illusion. Now, she's finding out the hard way that the world isn't so kind. That 20% she was chasing, it's not as great as it seemed. And as for the 80% she had, well, that's gone. She's no longer marriage material.
Yep.
She's just another one in the dating pool, looking for something she already had and lost.
An old, dusty, musty, crusty, broke single mother.
Chads and Tyrones might be happy to entertain her, but that's all it is, entertainment. They're not sticking around, and they're certainly not looking for anything serious. It's a tough pill to swallow, but it's the reality she created. She traded a good life for a fantasy, and now she's paying the price. The lesson? Sometimes what you think is missing might just be a mirage, and when you chase it, you risk losing everything that truly matters.
This is day 4 of commuting as a divorced gal. I forget that commuting is
Damn, 53? Look pretty good for 53. Just saying.
like really tiring. It felt really different to commute back and forth to the city and not to come home to my big ass house that I used to live in, and to come home to my small apartment. Before, I used to get into my car and drive home to my house, and my husband would be there, and my son, and now it's my plants. I'm complaining, but it's like, ma'am, this is what did you think? Like,
Right.
You ended your 24-year marriage. You sold your 5-bedroom house. You sold your dream to try a whole new life. And I'm fully in that whole new life now. And even though I've been in it now for a couple of years, renting my apartment, it's still not adjusted. I thought it would feel more natural by now. I guess I'm getting there. And when am I going to get there? Why aren't I there yet? So like tonight, for example, 3 of my best friends are coming over, and it's different entertaining an apartment versus your house.
Yeah, because you're not as, cool as you used to be. Because you used to have a nice big house. Now you're a broke, dusty, musty, crusty with an apartment. That's why you feel embarrassed. Fucking the image for women is just so fucking huge. You know, amongst men, clout is pretty big. Not saying it isn't. But clout to women is beyond my comprehension sometimes.
Like, I don't have all my shit anymore. I used to have, like, cabinets where I would keep all of my napkins. Like, I had napkins in every color and all the plates and all the silverware and all. Now I'm
So you wasted a shitload of money on spending on colorful napkins. Got it. It's probably why Your husband's happy that you're divorced.
Like, I don't know where anything is anymore, and I don't even own those things anymore. Now I barely have matching glasses. Like when you get divorced, you split up all your shit, right? And then you have to go through stuff and you're like, oh, I don't need this. And the platters that I have, I don't use. My refrigerator is just filled up with like flavored seltzer now. But I know my friends don't care, but it's just like it's different. It changes the whole experience. I want to have everything like nice and pretty and I don't know, perfect for them. And they're showing up to just imperfections on imperfections, and they've been over before. I have to just go with the flow, right? I have to just not care about those things now because I know they don't matter, but I'm not gonna lie, like it was really nice to be able to have people over and just to have everything like beautiful and perfect and matching and being able to go and sit outside in my backyard or now I don't.
You can make other people envy of your perfect life that you used to have. But now you don't have it, so you don't want to show everybody else the miserable fucking side of you.
Have that. Now my kitchen is my living room, and my living room is my kitchen. It's just room. I'll make it work, but I would be lying if I didn't say that something about this week that's making it really hard. Girl, you gave it up.
Yep.
Happy now? And I know nobody's saying that to me, right? Nobody's saying that to me except me.
Yep.
So maybe I need to stop saying that to me. Like, yeah, I did give it up, and I gave it up for lots of good reasons. And
you sure? You're sure about that? Because you ranting for a good almost 3-4 minutes about this seems like you didn't make the right decision in your own mind.
I put a lot of thought and care, and I did not make a frivolous knee-jerk decision. When you make a decision to end your marriage and to end your fairy tale,
Did you hear that? End your fairy tale. So what did you just jump into? A nightmare? Because you just lost your fairy tale, girl. You literally just said that.
Are consequences, and some of that is that things won't be perfect and beautiful and exactly as they were.
Oh, so it was perfect and beautiful before. Like these women just tell on themselves.
Be different. You have to make like an educated guess that, okay, I understand that it's going to be different, but I'm still making that choice. But you have no way of knowing how it's going to be until you're in it. So now I'm in it.
So much shittier.
So I'm going upstairs now. Try to make it cute with my mismatched shit, my mismatched glasses, and it'll be fine, right? Yay. I miss my backyard.
What message does this send to the young men watching? It's clear as day. There's no sympathy here, and no one's falling for the same trap. She's 53 years old, wrecked her family and home for what? A fleeting sense of freedom? Independence? But at what cost? She's chasing something that doesn't exist, and now she's left with nothing but regret. Younger men are seeing this play out and thinking, why would I risk my future on someone who's going to do the same thing?
Mm-hmm.
The truth is, it's a different era now. Men are smarter, more cautious, and less willing to gamble with their lives on someone who could turn around and leave for no damn reason other than it's her choice. Her ex-husband, on the other hand, is probably moving on just fine, maybe even better than fine. He's likely enjoying life with...
The ex-husband sounds like a pretty good Chad that made a lot of money, but provided a very wonderful lifestyle for her.
The new, younger girlfriend, while she's left to deal with the fallout of her decisions. And that's the cold, hard truth. She manipulated the situation, made herself the victim, but now she's facing the reality she created. And let's be honest, most men aren't going to take her seriously anymore. She's become just 53. Another fleeting option for the Chads and...
Again, admit she looks pretty good for 53, but you're 53.
Tyrones of the world. They're for a good time, but nothing more. The days of being seen as wife material are long gone. Now, she's in a position where her only companions might just be her dogs and cats. And as for her son, well, it's sad but true. She might as well forget about him. The damage is done, and the reality of her choices is settling in. This isn't just a losing game for honorable men. It's a cautionary tale for everyone watching. The consequences are real, and they're not pretty.
A guy will take that abuse for years, and then one day he can't take it anymore and he slaps her. That's all the world will ever see is the moment he
Correct.
slapped her. They won't pay any attention to anything that led up to it.
True.
Nothing else matters. He hit a woman. One of the biggest problems that I have with guys going through divorce is that their own families turn on them.
I interviewed one guy, his whole family.
Yep.
His whole family believed he was an abuser for they came around like 5 years later, but
I've seen it happen 1,000 times. Guys, their own fathers, their own mothers turn on them and side with the abusive woman. It's amazing. When you take fundamental biological gynocentrism and you turn it into that, you've got a crazy world. I mean, eventually the society will collapse. And that'll be the start of something new and maybe a little bit better. But until then, I don't see anything changing. If people can turn on their own children because a woman said he hit me or he was mean to me.
Fuck.
Man.
I didn't even. Damn. Paul Elam put that in a fucking very, very direct way right there. Fuck.
We're a long way from being able to fix anything.
Believe all women.
Here's the thing. Choosing peace and walking away is one of the most powerful decisions a man can make. It's a statement that says, I'm not going to let this destroy me. The feminine...
And that's the statement I believe most MGTOW people make. It's not that we're scared or, we don't want to. No. The shit is so fucked up. We don't want any part of it.
This movement, under the guise of caring about the well-being of women, has done more damage than good. It wasn't about equality. It was about dismantling the family unit, and now we're seeing the fallout. The sad truth is that men often lose everything by simply telling the truth. Meanwhile, women can gain everything by bending the truth or outright lying. The system is set up in such a way that men bear the brunt of the consequences, especially in divorce. They take on years of emotional abuse, mental strain, and when they finally snap, all anyone sees is that one moment, a slap, an outburst, and they're instantly vilified. No one cares about the years of turmoil that led up to that breaking point. But here's the real kicker.
And the other sad part is, even as men, we tell men, no, you need to be able to control your emotions. And sometimes it gets to a point, how can you? How can you? When shit gets so outrageous, shit gets so ridiculous, they are destroying your life. They are physically abusing you, emotionally abusing you. How can most people handle this? How can they still control their emotions and not lash out here and there? And I'm not saying it's correct to be hitting women or all of this, but there has to be some kind of discourse between what the fuck happened and why did it happen, other than boom, just a little slap and all of a sudden the man's a fucking terrorist.
Men have started to wake up. They're realizing that the only way to truly win is by walking away before it gets to that point. By choosing peace, they avoid the trap that's been set for them. They see through the agenda, and they're not willing to sacrifice their sanity, their finances, and their future for a system that's rigged against them. Men go through hell in divorce, often losing not just their possessions, but their dignity and respect. Yet they're expected to just take it, to absorb the blows until they can't anymore. And when they finally retaliate, when they can't hold it in any longer, they're the ones who are condemned. It's a no-win situation. But the power lies in recognizing this, in knowing when to walk away, and in choosing peace over the chaos. It's about taking control of your own life and not letting anyone or any movement dictate your fate. In the end, walking away is the ultimate act of self-preservation, and it's the one thing that can't be taken away from you.
This is why I support MGTOW so much and support Passport Bros. Passport Bros are for the men that still want families, that truly want families, and they can't figure it out here in the United States. It's just better to go overseas. And then MGTOW are for the guys that hopefully laws change, but I don't think laws are going to change. So the best thing for MGTOW guys is either to stay single forever or become Passport Bros. I just don't, as a man myself, I can't I can't give any other advice other than those two advices for a majority of men. Unless you are making 200K, 300K, decently tall, decent good looking, you might be able to find a decent one out there. But even then, you're going to probably find a shitload of horrible gold diggers and entitled women.
Walking away doesn't make a man weak. It makes him wise. He's not running from responsibility. He's running towards a life where he can find real peace and stability. And in a world where telling the truth can cost you everything, sometimes the most powerful thing a man can do is to simply walk away.
I know that I am not the most beautiful woman in the world. I know that you don't even believe I'm the most beautiful woman in the world, and that is okay. If we're looking at it from a neutral perspective, no one, you're not going to be like, Amy is the most beautiful woman in the world. I know that I'm the most special person to you. I know that you're attracted to me, and you're attracted to me as an isolated individual. Are you trying to tell me?
Yeah, I would disagree with what you're saying.
Am I the most beautiful woman in the world?
Because that's the thing is...
It's how we view you. Like, it's sad that women don't understand this about men. Like, even as I said, my ex-wife. I loved her. She was not... Now I feel bad. Now I feel like I'm talking shit about it. But she wasn't the most gorgeous person in the world. She was a little bit overweight. But I still thought she was beautiful. I still loved her. Right? They don't understand that part. They just think that out of the years we built together, out of everything, all of a sudden a pretty face can walk in and then we will lose all attraction from them to that person. It's just, no. The attraction has built so over the years so strongly for you women that us men almost can't even live without you in a certain sense of how we feel about things.
Beauty is way more. Beauty in a person is so much wrapped up in that.
100%.
And there's actually no one more beautiful than you. Like, genuinely, because there's so much in that. And I want to say that, because if you don't feel that from me, that's a big concern of mine. You are the most beautiful person to me because you're the mother of my children, my wife.
This is exactly my father's sentiment with my mother. I can honestly say my mother's not the most gorgeous of women. She was a little overweight and, but my father still saw her as a beautiful woman. I see her as a beautiful woman. Why? Because she was my mother. She was the mother of my father's 3 children. It doesn't matter how my mom actually physically looked. The feelings and the attraction was still there because you've done something that no other woman has done for me. Provided me with 3 wonderful children. How can I give up my love and my attraction for that just willy-nilly? There are some men that can. I'm sure there are. But I genuinely, in my heart, believe that most men are good and feel very similar to how I feel.
Wife, you are my best friend. I think you're gorgeous. Like, all of these things that's beauty. It's not anything else. So I can't just let you say that and move on because that's not true.
Yeah. Thank you.
The end.
This is exactly what I see women get wrong time and time again. Because beauty is so much more than surface level. And a big part of that, ladies, is in your actions. It's how you treat him. It's in your personality. It's in your selflessness. It's in your caring and nurturing nature. Those are the things that a good man cares about.
That's a powerful sentiment right there. It's not about being the most beautiful woman in the world.
No.
It's about being the most beautiful woman in his world. Beauty in its truest form is about so much more than just looks. Every woman has her own unique beauty, but what really makes a woman stand out is her heart and soul. In a world that's so focused on appearances, it's easy to forget that real beauty comes from within.
True.
Sure, there are plenty of pretty faces out there, but what really matters is the kind of person you are on the inside.
This is why I say I'm more than willing to get a 4, a 3. I'm more than willing to get a 3 or a 4 that's slightly overweight because their personality, everything else might be gorgeous. We can fix the looks. We can work on the looks. We can go work out together. We can eat less. I can help her with her diet a little bit. Those things can be adjusted. I can't train a person to have the same morals as me, to have the same plans for their future, have the same goals for their family. Those things are nearly impossible to instill in someone. They just kind of have to have that themselves.
The way you treat others, the kindness you show, and the love you give that truly makes you beautiful. When a man sees a woman as the most beautiful in his world, it's because he sees beyond the surface. He sees the qualities that make her special, the way she cares, the way she supports him, the way she lights up a room with her presence. That's the kind of beauty that lasts, the kind that deepens over time. It's a reminder that real beauty isn't about fitting some universal standard or competing with others. It's about being authentic, being kind, and having a heart full of love. That's what makes a woman truly beautiful in the eyes of someone who loves her.
Damn right.
So while every woman might be pretty in her own way, it's the heart and soul that truly elevate her to being the most beautiful in someone's world.
We talk about the nature of women and stuff all the time. We don't really talk about nature of men so much, but yeah, we love women. I say it all the time. And we love them to such a degree that even in our own minds, after we get with them, we lock in their looks. We lock it in when we first meet them. And then 20, 30, 40, 50 years later, we still love that person. They still look the same to us. Gorgeous. Please click on below. I really appreciate that if you guys subscribe.